Back at it again. Buck at it again.
Around.
Buck at it again.
No.
Buck's back. Bucking around's back. Part 3. You're still here. That's good.
Just about.
Just about, because that part 2 was...
I've not been asked to leave just yet.
That was quite something. So we talked about topics and stuff today, didn't we? We had a little chat, and you sent me a text talking about like human capabilities, or the capabilities of the human body.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate on that like slightly?
Well, it's just mad, isn't it? What the human body can go through and still be fully functioning, repair itself. Right. The other thing as well, obviously, like the brain and stuff. The brain has been built that can then build stuff that's better than the brain. Like how can you even like comprehend that sort of stuff?
Oh, do you mean like computers?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And it's like, I don't know, like once you start thinking about it, it actually makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like how when you're being birthed, created, like from a fetus point, whatever you call it.
Stay strong. We'll get through this one. Stay strong. No, don't. It's okay. Don't go. It's all right. Stay with us.
Going blue.
How does a woman grow like all the parts of a human?
Yeah. It's just mad, isn't it?
Body, like how does a woman grow a brain in her stomach, and like how the fuck do your eyeballs work? How does that work? If you think about it, you wake up and you just see, don't you? Well, most of us do.
No.
Like how's that work? I genuinely don't.
Well, the brain's hardly formed as well, because it's not like you can remember being birthed, can you?
Yeah.
It's like your first earliest memory.
So it's just like a gunky science experiment.
And your head's like in plates as well, isn't it? As a baby, it's like it's not even formed, so it's like, don't drop it, because
It's got like a gap in the top, haven't you?
Yeah, it's great for an ashtray.
Still up from Family Guy, did you?
No, it was a mate of mine actually.
Oh, okay. It's a good joke.
Shout out to Ross, that was a good joke.
I know what you mean though, because like, say you break your leg, and like, you know, obviously we watch a lot of American football, and some of the messes that you see, these guys come out, like, and you know, you got legs at right angles, and the worst one this year was the guy who was laying face down, and his foot was facing
the other way around,
facing the sky.
Yeah.
The thing that made me think of it was, I don't know if you guys have heard of a guy called Ross Edgley.
No.
So there's a guy that I used to work with, Dave Wright. Shout out to Dave Wright. That was one I wanted to do earlier. He'd be really proud that I've said his name. And
he's not watching by this point.
No, he's not. No, I've not made it to this part.
Hello, Dave.
Yeah.
Hello, Dave.
Stick with it, Dave. I'm giving you a shout out.
Yeah. Basically, he's literally the most athletic person I've ever met in my entire life.
Right.
But basically, this guy called Ross Edgley did a swim around the entire UK, excluding Ireland. So he literally, I think he started at Margate and swam the entire way around England, Wales, Scotland, and back down.
But not in one go.
Yeah.
What? He didn't get out of the water?
No. He spent, I think it was something like 2/3 of a year in the water. And then, so he'd swim something like, I'm probably doing him a disservice, but sort of 20, 25 miles per day. I can't remember what the exact workings out were. So and then at night, got off for 6 hours or so, slept on a boat, and then jumped back into the water. So he wore a wetsuit, obviously, the entire time. And obviously, you know, a wetsuit like comes up to here. So obviously, the water is salty. So it was like rubbing his neck. So they had to like cut away the neck, and across the back of his neck here was just like red raw. And then he had a thing called salt tongue, where basically his tongue just started like falling out in bits. It's all on his Instagram. There's videos of it, and he's like pulling bits of his tongue out. Like, it's just madness. And then obviously you don't see all the other stuff that goes on behind after he's finished and stuff. But I saw him post some videos of the day, and then he's just up and running. And do you know what I mean? Like the way that the body recovers, and then all of a sudden you can be months or a year later, just like back to normal, is just incredible.
Salt tongue.
I think that's what it's called.
That sounds like something that like Harry Potter would use to like survive underwater.
Why? Incredible.
Yeah, but honestly, one of the videos is him literally just pulling bits of his tongue off. Where
It sounds like a brilliant achievement, though.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And obviously he had so much support from it through sort of social media and Instagram and stuff.
But my question is, why? Like why? Like what?
A sense of achievement?
Yeah, that's a hell of a feat of
Is that
human.
like a Guinness Book of Records thing as well?
I've got a feeling it is. I can't.
Imagine that. Imagine having your name in the record book for something decent. Not like fucking something stupid like smashing melons with your head or something.
You'd be the best at that, though. I just
but like a proper record that you're in the books for.
I'm surprised you didn't get eaten by a shark, to be fair.
Smashing melons with your head. Next one.
Did he have like shark repellent or something?
Oh,
because they're not around here, are they?
That's what you think.
Some of it they would.
That's how they get you.
I think he swam through a sea, like a shoal, whatever you want to call it, of jellyfish, and got some really severe stings and stuff like. Honestly, the stuff he went through was just absolutely mad, absolute madness. But again, you said obviously the question is why. The other question for him and people like that want to explore Everest and like travel around the world and whatever is why not? Yeah. Why would you not test your body?
I think that's what makes people great, though. Having ambition to do things that everyday people just don't do, or wouldn't do, or don't want to do. Do you know what I mean?
I would never dream of that. That obviously for me, that's my worst nightmare. So like, why? But you're right.
Well, he's just better than you. So there was a sorry, that was such a horrible shutdown. But
it's fine. I drink from my cup and everybody's gone.
I'm safe again. I saw Brian Blessed at the theatre, and talk about inspiration, and like that man is insane. Like he comes on stage and he just talks to everyone, and the whole theatre is just dead quiet. You can hear a pin drop. Everyone's hanging
because he's so loud.
Well, no, he just knows how to work the room so well. Everyone's hanging on every word. But that man, at like age, I'm not exactly how short. He's like very old for like what he's doing. He's a trained cosmonaut. Like he's gonna go into space. He's done stuff with like the Americans, the Russians. He's got this suit, and he was talking about like, in sort of like embeds itself into your veins, so you don't need to pee or poo or anything. It's just like fucking circulates and whatnot. And he's like, I'm going to go into space. And he's like done Everest before, like without oxygen and stuff. And like he's such an inspirational person. I remember watching that show and leaving afterwards going, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Realistically, you can do anything that you set your mind to.
Yeah, it's all in the mind,
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you guys have been watching SAS.
Yeah, the Who Does.
Yeah. But it is literally mindset. That is what sets people apart. You can be as big and physically strong as you want, but the mindset is because 80% of it.
It's like they said, people who run marathons and stuff, eventually at some point, no matter what you're doing, if it's a physical, mental test, you're going to hit that wall. And a lot of people, and sometimes you're going to hit it repeatedly, and a lot of people will get to that point and be like, I can't do this anymore. And that filters all the way down to like we were talking about with the sport that we play. You get people who come and play and take their first knock and they're like, no, I can't do that. And there are people who give up on it because like mentally they're like, I didn't like that, so I'm not doing that anymore. Whereas like I didn't like my first hit, but you sort of go like, okay.
So it was against Wembley, wasn't it? Was it Wembley?
No, it was
at Ipswich.
No, this is in practice.
That one at Ipswich.
The Ipswich. I thought you were dead.
A lot of us were
that was going to be your first catch ever as well.
Where I went in for Kyle for one play.
Yeah,
because he said he was tired. Yeah. And then they sent me up the sideline and I just got cleaned out.
Yeah. We were like, shit.
We were like,
bye, Rex.
He wasn't ready.
Get him some milk.
Need some milk.
Need some milk.
R.I.P.
But that, again, this mindset, isn't it? Like you got up, dusted yourself off, and
you cried, didn't you? But you're here, which is a good thing.
Mindset, bro.
You're a nightmare.
Game face, bro.
You're a nightmare. But I think it's the same with most things. That a lot of stuff is, I think everything is mentality over anything else.
That must be really hard, especially like from a professional level as well. Obviously, for us, if you get injured, then it's like, you don't really have to play, or you can. Obviously, if you're providing you're not self-employed, you'll still get paid and all that sort of stuff. Whereas, obviously, if you're a professional athlete, that is your entire life. That's the only thing you've ever worked towards. Yeah. And then you get a leg injury or a knee injury that means, like Alex Smith, like the quarterback for the Redskins at the minute, like he could never ever play again because his leg was messed up that badly, and then they messed up the surgery. Like, how do you even start to comprehend that you could never?
I mean, the millions that he's earned probably helps.
I guess, probably. but to some people, the joy of the sport and what they love doing means more than the money. Yeah, the money's great because it means that he's secure. He's secure, but actually, just because you've got money, does that mean your life's fulfilled?
I think
back to the question we were talking about earlier.
Well, obviously, like money doesn't bring you happiness, but I'm just saying, like.
Money doesn't bring you happiness, but I've never seen an unhappy millionaire.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Not true.
Well, who?
Well, think about all the celebrities.
No,
and
just
stuff
tell me one. Just tell me one. I don't need a whole sentence.
Robin Williams.
Who?
Robin Williams.
Robin.
Yeah,
Robin Williams.
He's dead now.
Yeah,
because he committed suicide. And he was very clearly a millionaire.
No, I don't think there's a direct link between that. That's
I think it certainly helps. Don't get me wrong, because obviously, like, if you're,
I'd rather cry in my swimming pool than cry in my
in a dirty bathtub.
Yeah,
you know, but
clean your bathtub, bro.
No, you ain't got the money. You ain't got the money to do it.
But you got the money for a bathtub.
There's a shark in there.
I don't go in it.
Where did you get this money from?
I just let the shark swim around in there. It's not for me. It's not for me to use. I was going to say something intelligent, and then you guys ruined it for me.
Sure.
I can't remember what it was now.
That's my excuse a lot of the time. I was going to say something smart.
I genuinely can't remember. Oh no, yeah, we were talking about, you mentioned injuries and stuff like that, and things that like alter. Like you said, these athletes, like, and particularly in the States, you know, that's such a culture that they go all the way through, you know, from like little league, pee-wee, high school, college. The Inky Johnson story, you know, where he's playing. So he was, I don't know if have you seen this guy before?
No, I don't.
So he got all the way up to, so he said, and he's a motivational speaker now, that's what he does. But he talked about the fact that he grew up on a floor with like 6 or 7 of his cousins all in the same room at the same time, and he said that his mum used to finish a really long shift at Wendy's, and then he'd ask her to leave her car lights on so he could run sprints in the dark, blah blah blah. So he could and he said, I need to go to the league so we'll never have to worry about money ever again, sort of thing. And this was like he dedicated, if you think from the age that he started that, from the age of like where he first got put into organised sports at the age of 6 or 7, all the way up to his senior year of college, which is 22-ish, something like that. So say on average, that's about 15 years that he's dedicated to making sure that he's in the most physical state
to be ready to make
do
that.
What, like he's that switched on and like prepared,
finely tuned.
Yeah, he's like, there is no other option.
Yeah.
And he was predicted a first round draft pick and everything like this. Went into a game, made a hit on a tight end. And jammed his shoulder so badly that he started bleeding internally. So when you see it happen, you see him hit the guy and he just goes limp, completely numb. He said, like, his teammates were saying, come on, we need you to get up, kind of thing. And he said, I literally cannot move. Like, his entire body couldn't move. So they took him to hospital, and they said they had to plug the vein from his leg into his chest to stop him from bleeding out.
Yeah.
And he lost his arm. Like, he lost his whole arm, and he's all kind of like, so he has a prosthetic arm now. But, you know, and it comes back to sort of like what the body can withstand, because obviously, like, he was that close to dying, because the doctor said to him, you know, like, he goes into surgery and they said, we need to do this to save your life, kind of thing. And then he said when he woke up, the doctor said to him, you know, like, the bad news is you can't play football ever again. And eventually he did lose the arm, but, you know, he was like, obviously, like, saved his life, kind of thing. But you can go through all of that where your body hits like this tremendous shock and like just is ready to shut down.
It's interesting when you talk about what the body will go through. I mean, especially in those situations where you talk about how life is so determined to keep going. Like, you can put someone or a body through so much, and life will just really cling on and just be like, no. It's life is important.
Yeah. But I think it's also not. I don't find it terrifying, because I think if it's your time, then it's your time. You know, like, if something unfortunate was to happen, or you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, or whatever it might be, like, you know, then there's nothing you can do about it anyway, so why worry about it? But I do think it's also like how fragile it is. So you're talking about how much the body can withstand and how much, you're built for survival and all of this kind of thing. But at the same time, it really doesn't take much, and you could make one mistake or like I genuinely so in Florida, came up to a zebra crossing, looked the wrong way. So obviously I'm so used to walking up to a zebra crossing and looking left. Looking right.
Yeah.
For oncoming traffic.
I'm confused now.
So so I've walked up.
Which one's left and which one's right?
So I've walked up to a zebra crossing basically,
backwards.
and I've looked the way that I would in the UK.
Yeah.
And just bowled straight out, right? So if I'd made that mistake, looked the wrong way, and there happened to be a 10-ton lorry coming or whatever it might be,
you wouldn't have to worry about sharks anymore.
No, but that's how fragile it is, because it's literally that one split second where I'm like, I looked that way instead of that way, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, and you think about the amount of things and the memories and stuff that you accumulate, and how individual everybody is. You've got this whole mechanism that is everything you've ever been through. It creates who you are and the way that you are, and then all of a sudden, just like that, all of it out, gone. That is, I think that's mad. And I always find it really bizarre that it's particularly when it happens to somebody that I think is close to you or somebody that you care about, or even if it's a celebrity that you admire or something. It's it doesn't matter who it is that dies. Nothing changes. It doesn't change anything. Everything still runs exactly the same as it would before you existed, while you existed,
and after.
And it's almost infuriating that it's hang on a minute, why is everything just continuing as normal when this person's gone now? Things should stop. Surely, something you should. We're in a state of mourning, but nothing, and there's only a very tiny minority of people that will stop and mourn and reflect on that person. And the rest of the world just carries on because it happens every day. I think it's mental that it's.
Humanity would stop getting anything done though if it was constantly.
Oh, of course you would. Yeah, of course you would. You have to don't get me wrong. You have to carry on, and I admire people, particularly. You see a lot of things about families of these traumatic incidents where things happen to their kids, or and again, in America it's huge because so many people end up getting shot in gang violence and stuff like that, and their parents will then go and give talks or give support or create charities or whatever they're doing. If you've got that kind of strength where it's okay, something terrible has happened to my family, but I'm going to use it as a motivation to do something good, kind of thing. I think that's very impressive. But I think it's crazy and that's why people who procrastinate and people who are lazy and people who don't bother doing anything or achieving anything piss me off so much, because it's what's the point? What are you existing for?
What are you saving yourself for?
Yeah, when you go back to that envelope, it's if the envelope's there and you looked and you only had a week left, would you change the way that you're living? And if the answer to that question is yes, then what the fuck are you doing? Because you should always live that way, I think. I know it's not always physically possible, because you could be I want to go to the Maldives, and if I've got a week left to live, then I need to go and do that.
Empty my bank account.
It's not always physically possible, but still to the best of your ability to be because I one of the things that really winds me up is people who get up on a Monday morning and can't wait for it to be Friday.
Yeah.
Wishing your life away.
That really winds me up. It's I don't give a shit that it's Monday. Most people have to go to work, but what's the point in getting up on a Monday and being can't wait for it to be Friday? So many people go to work and then they come home and be well, I'm not going to fucking do anything tonight because I've got to go to work again tomorrow. Well, fuck all that. You've got to go to work tomorrow, but that's half your day. So do something. Do you know what I mean? Just live your life. I don't know.
But if that person feels like they're living their life, then.
Yeah, but so
that's
completely different.
But your opinion is valid for you. Your opinion is valid for you. But if that's not how I think, and I think I'm living my life, then do you still think the same?
No. So if you think that and some people enjoy that, they'll go home from work and sit and watch the TV Monday to Friday every evening, and that is their way of living their life. But what I mean is the people who are just miserable from Monday morning to Friday afternoon,
and only look forward to that Friday element,
and just wait for it to be Friday week in week out. And it's well, if you hate it that much, do something about it. Go down a different career path, do something different. Based on the stuff that we've just talked about, you've got the power to pretty much do anything at all.
Want.
Yeah, and I don't think it's ever too late to do that. And I get that you get into. I think did we might have already talked about this. Yeah. You know, it's never too late to change, and like it doesn't matter if you've got a mortgage or invested, whatever it might be. I think that if you care about it that much, and if you hate it that much, if it's that important to you, then you can flip it and change it. I think.
Just going back to what you were saying about like death being a bit morbid and stuff, and how close it is and how you might not realise it. I was watching a programme the other day with Piers Morgan, interview with a serial killer or something.
I've seen it, yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, but it's in Florida. Shock. And basically he was talking about, I've also just realised that I say basically and obviously quite a lot.
I say, do you know what I mean? And like, does that make sense?
You say like a lot.
Yeah.
He was talking about somebody that he potentially would have killed, but didn't. So this is a serial killer, not Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
About somebody that he potentially would have killed, but they did something that made him just not do it, or he just decided he was going to carry on walking instead of stopping and killing them. And that person potentially is still alive anyway, but has no idea that they nearly died by being killed by a serial killer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and that could happen all day, every day. You could be somebody at work. It could be. The idea of that is how close to death you are all the time. Potentially is just madness.
It's so much more real than I think people.
You got to be so careful though, because like if you live with that mentality, you can't do anything.
No, because otherwise no one would get on. Because planes go down every now and then, but it's like one in a however many.
You're safer being on a plane than you are.
But if you and people do live that way.
In my car, 100% with the welding problems. The noises it makes when it goes over a speed bump. Is that normal, Al? Yes, that's fine. Does the radio work?
You want to see him driving out of here, mate? It's literally about 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, Joel was like, you realise it was 30 miles an hour? And I was like, yeah, I was going 30. And he was like, no, I'm not taking the piss. Is your speedo broke?
Mate, seriously.
I was like, no, I was going 30, 100%. It's probably fucked. I don't know. I'm scared for the MOT. I've got to the point now where I'm going, is it worth putting petrol in it now? Like every time I go to fuel up, I'm like, is 20 quid worth it? Like maybe I should just
save the money.
Yeah, because like, if I have to abandon this, then that's 20 quid down out the spout. Isn't it?
Is it like when Harvey Dent drinks and it just comes down to his throat and just all kind of like pours out of him again because he's got no skin to keep it in, so the car's like such a mess that you put petrol in it, it's all just pours out all over the ground.
Possibly. That's why I'm getting through so much petrol.
Yeah, probably. No, it's £20 to get from here to home. Sort of seems expensive.
It's not every time.
Right.
Oh well, we actually managed to hold a conversation without you having a
breakdown,
miniature heart attack of some kind. So we'll come back and do one more, and that has been part 3. Will you stay for the 4th part? You having a good time?
I'm really enjoying myself. Good, really enjoying myself.
All right, well, we'll keep you for one more. Thanks.
Bucking around.
Oh, I missed it again.
I'm never doing it.